Today we're going to take this woman and apply a double exposure effect. Hello and welcome to an Affinity Revolution tutorial. My name is Ezra Anderson, and today we're going to create a double exposure effect in the iPad version of Affinity Photo. If you'd like to follow along with the same images that I'll be using, I've included a download link in the video description. The first thing we need to do to create our double exposure effect is to make a selection of the woman. To do this, we need to come to the selection persona. Now we can get our Smart Selection brush and begin painting a selection across the woman. It's okay if your selection isn't quite perfect, because now we're going to refine our selection. Just paint around the areas that you want Affinity to have a second look at. Affinity has done a great job cleaning up our selection. We're now going to change our output from selection to a new layer. Now we just need to press on the check mark. If you look inside the Layers panel, we now have a new layer with just the woman on it. Our next step to create the double exposure is to go and get the mountain that's going to go on top of this woman. I'll press the home arrow at the top left of the screen, and then I'll select this mountain picture. We're going to make a selection of the mountain in the same way that we made a selection of the woman. So let's come to the selection persona, and with the Smart Selection brush, we'll paint a selection. We want to copy our selection of the mountain into the picture of the woman. To do this, we'll come back to the photo persona, and then tap once with 2 fingers. Now we can press copy, and come back to the picture of the woman, and then tap again with 2 fingers, and press paste. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and with the Move tool, I'll resize and position the mountain. For this particular effect, you want to have the left side of the woman completely covered by the mountain, but have the right side of the woman completely uncovered. Our next step is to lower the opacity of this mountain. That will make it so we can see the mountain and the woman. To lower its opacity, we'll come to the Layers panel, and then press on the 3 circles at the top left. Now we can lower the opacity to about 50%. We now want to make it so the woman is only visible where the mountain is, and the mountain is only visible where the woman is. To do this, we'll make a selection of each layer, and then use that selection to make a mask of the other layer. First, we'll make a selection of the mountain. To make a selection of a layer, you need to come to the Channel Studio, and then press on the 3 circles next to Layer Background Alpha. Then select Create Spare Channel, and press on the 3 circles next to the new spare channel we made at the bottom. Now we can click on Load to Pixel Selection. We now have a selection of our mountain layer. We're going to use this selection to make a mask on the woman's layer. So we'll come back to the Layer Studio, and then press on Layer Options. Now I'll select the woman's layer, and press on the mask icon. We'll make a new mask layer. Now the woman is only visible where the mountain is. The next step is to make it so the mountain is only visible where the woman is. To do this, we'll select the woman's layer, and then come back to the Channel Studio. Next to Layer Pixel Alpha, we'll press on the 3 circles, and create another spare channel. Now we'll press on the 3 circles next to our new spare channel, and press Load to Pixel Selection once again. Now we'll come back to the Layer Studio, select the mountain layer, and apply a new mask layer. Now you can tap once on the screen with 2 fingers, and press Deselect. At this point, our double exposure effect is just about done. I think there's just a couple more things we can do though to make it look a little bit better. First, I'm going to select the mountain layer, and then tap once with 2 fingers, and press Duplicate. To make the left side of the woman's face visible, and then have it slowly fade into the mountain, we're going to paint black on this mask. So let's select our paintbrush, and then make sure you're painting in black and your hardness is 0%. I also recommend you take the flow down to about 10%. Now you just need to make sure that you have the mask selected in the Layer Studio, and you can begin painting to slowly reveal the woman's face. Now the left side of the woman's face is visible, and it slowly fades into the mountain. Finally, I think our picture needs a background. So let's select the Rectangle tool, and then click and drag to make a rectangle. Inside the Layer Studio, I'll click and drag this layer to the bottom. And if you so desire, you can add a vignette to the background by coming to the Filter Studio, and then scrolling down to the bottom, and select Vignette. Then just bring the exposure down, decrease the hardness, and increase the scale. We are now finished with our beautiful double exposure effect. Thanks for watching! I hope you enjoyed our double exposure effect tutorial. If you'd like to learn even more about the iPad version of Affinity Photo, I'll leave a link in the video description for our complete beginner's guide to this program. It covers all of the tools and techniques that you need to get the most of this program. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another Affinity Revolution tutorial.